Welcome back, fellow filmmakers. It's Jason Love. And again, this is week 4. I just did a video that hopefully you saw on how to become a better filmmaker. And if you haven't, we're breaking up week 4's videos, week 4 of the Racine video production, YouTube video production workshop. We're breaking up into 2 parts to allow for, to make it a little bit easier with your, we're also recording these live, so I'm having a little bit of tech issues. 1 second. Video production workshop that was open to all of Racine, youth in Racine County. So today we're going to talk about how to make money from YouTube. And I have here a list of ways to make money. So the first one is become a YouTube partner. And that's where you share ad revenue with YouTube. This is the most, I wouldn't say it's the most common. It probably is. I don't know the numbers on this, but YouTube partner is the one that most people think of, right? It's those ads that you see either before this video, after this video, or in the middle of this video. And it is really hard to become a YouTube partner. If people think, oh, I can make tons of money from this, that's not accurate, right? So to become a YouTube partner, you need to have 1,000 followers and 4,000 watch hours. That's current, and they'll probably change that at some point. Early on, they're very selective, and then for a while, almost anyone could get in, and now it's pretty hard to get that. I don't know what percentage, but I'm guessing, probably only 10% of YouTubers get that. I mean, all the big ones you see, but if you look at everyone who has an account, almost everyone in the world, everyone who has a Google account kind of has a YouTube account. So that's why that number, it's pretty hard to get. And they did that just to lower the numbers of people they have to deal with on a monthly basis. And most of the ones there was a point where YouTube had monetize everyone, and then they said, okay, if you don't meet these requirements, we're going to pull your partnership. And a lot of people were bummed, but the reality is they were making maybe $1 or $2 a year, so it was just not worth YouTube's time to have to do deal with taxes and all that stuff with all those people. But just to let you know, you usually tend to get between $1 and $5 per 1,000 views, and this flex changes. The way the price is determined is an auction. So advertisers say, I want videos related to, to kids, or I want videos related to parenting, or I want videos related to video games, or maybe this specific video game. They go in and there's this whole process, which I've been on the other end of it. It's pretty complicated. And really that's why you mostly see higher end products, you'll literally see Walmart, or you'll see maybe a politician, or you might see, I'm trying to think what other ads you see. I use YouTube Red, so I don't see a lot of ads these days, but it's usually not a small-time YouTube or a small-time channel or a website. It's usually people who have the time and resources to put money in and figure out what works. And so, the more competitive, more people, or the higher price. So this is a little bit of a tangent, so I apologize, but there was somebody who I was talking with, was never able to verify this, but they made videos specifically about treadmills, right? And I don't remember the brand, but a very specific treadmill. And all of his videos were that. And his amount he got per 1,000 was way higher than average. I want to say twice, if not 400%. No, yeah. So maybe even 200, 300, 400%. Yeah. Which makes sense. There's no way for me to verify that. But people who are looking at those treadmills, the treadmills are worth, thousands of dollars. If they sell just one, if his video just sells one, the business makes thousands of dollars off of that one. As opposed to, if I sell books, it's expensive book is $50. That's expensive for a book. So you can see the difference where I'm willing to pay more to advertise for a higher price. Oh, cars is another one, right? So you see a lot with cars, with other media. But, if they can sell one car, they're bringing in tens of thousands of dollars. So that's a whole rabbit hole that we will save for maybe another workshop of how that ad revenue. Just know that certain, depending on what your topic is or what your keywords are, being how the title of your show, things like that, that gives you an idea. So the next one is sponsors. And I should mention I have done all of these. So if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments. So sponsorship is a little bit complicated on YouTube in the sense of you have to work out the deal beforehand, because with podcasts you can say, okay, it's, let's say you say it is $500 for 10,000 views, right? So 10,000 people will listen to your commercial and you pay me $500, right? And then they can switch out that commercial. And I apologize, this is getting a little more complicated probably than I needed a bit, but just get the fact that with sponsorships, you can't switch it out. You could take it away, so you could delete that sponsorship from the video, but you can never add new sponsorships. So that makes it a little bit more complicated. You have to figure out, okay, what are the requirements? So what I just did was I just said, all right, you pay a part of the cost to make the video. I completely own the rights. I get all the ad revenue, and what you get, not all what you get. What you get is you get to put an advertisement, and then basically it's another form of ads. And it's worth it to them because they will make that money back selling that product. So I've done this a few times. The last one was with an ebook. So someone said, hey, I got an ebook on your subject. How much would it cost? I sent them a price. And then now all my videos has that ebook, so that when people watch the video, it says, if you're interested in this, check out this ebook. Sponsors the show, and then has, Amazon link. We're all kind of familiar with that because of podcasts, if you listen to podcasts, and it's less common on YouTube. The issue you have right now is you have to do those individually. So there's no great company that I know of that handles that for you, where podcasting, there's companies that do that. And they will figure out, so you have to be the salesman. You have to be like, okay, this is what it costs to make it. This is how much to make our videos. This is how much we're going to charge you. This is, what people get in return. This is how many views you'll get, things like that. A big one, and probably the one that I push the most, is sell products or merchandise, especially digital products, right? So we have digital or physical goods. And before I go into that, let's talk about affiliates first. So affiliates are where you're selling someone else's product and you get a percentage. So it's not quite advertisement, because you don't get paid per view or per impression, they sometimes call it. What you get paid is for every time you make a sale. So if I sell, let's say I almost was going to say ice cream trucks, but that'll work. Okay, so I sell ice cream trucks, right? And the most popular one right now for affiliates is Amazon. So I'll say, okay, go to Amazon, use my link in your app to buy this ice cream truck, and I will get a percentage. And it's a pretty low percentage with Amazon. It's like, maybe like under 5%. So it could be 3%, and then like really low things are like 1%. I have to check because they changed recently. They cut those percentages in half, just because they could, and so they make a lot more money. So with that, again, it's when somebody buys something using your link, you get paid a percentage, and that's all worked out ahead of time. And if you can find third parties, so not necessarily Amazon, but you might have, so for example, a course that I've taken, sometimes I'll share those and say, hey, this is an awesome course. And then you are required to say, you put the link, you say this is an affiliate link, or you put it at the very bottom of your description somewhere, and just say, this link, it's legally required now. They're not really bashing down people's doors yet for this, but you should just be careful. If your website gets popular, or your YouTube channel gets popular, or whatever you're using, your email list gets popular, you're going to want to make sure you have that just for legal reasons. But just basically says, this is an affiliate link, I get paid if you purchase something. And I think that's just good practice to do anyways, to put it somewhere so people know. But even better than that is your own. So for example, I did a great example is I did a animation book. So it was especially again, digital is really, a lot of people sell t-shirts, which are really popular right now on YouTube. So they'll put them underneath the video sometimes. So that is a good option, but digital I love because you get 100% of they take out money for your processing fees. But if you're making a t-shirt and you sell it for $20, it costs $8 to make, and processing fees $2. So you make half. So you might as well just do an affiliate on something in some of those situations. So, but digital product, usually you get most of it. And if you sell other people's digital products, like the workshops that I sell, occasionally, I haven't done one in a while, but those usually have a high affiliate, like 50%. So when I sold my animation ebook and a video course, I got 100% except for the processing fee of the credit cards stuff. And usually you have to pay like a small amount to whoever is kind of hosting those files for you. But the beautiful thing is you don't have to like ship anything. There's no like extra fees there. There's no fees in like manufacturing anything or just dealing with all that stuff. So digital products are not super common on YouTube, but it's definitely one that I recommend if you're able to, especially around like I said, courses are always good. And then crowdfunding, right? This one I only put on because of Patreon. So Patreon, if you're not familiar, you should check it out. You pay a small amount of money or a big amount, and it goes to the creator, and then the creator can decide to give you something. It might be like a shout out. It might be sometimes you get like physical goods or like it might be like a live stream. Just these little perks. And again, I prefer not physical items, and even sometimes prefer not even digital items for crowdfunding. You're better off just selling them. For crowdfunding, specifically on Patreon, is or similar sites, is better just to have it where they get access to you as a creator or something similar. So a great example I gave during the workshop was the carpetbagger. So the carpetbagger travels around, and if you pay him $5, this is a physical item, but if you pay $5, you get so he travels to like weird locations, right? So it might be an abandoned amusement park, it might be like a roadside attraction, it might be the biggest ball of yarn, like that kind of stuff. And then if you pay $5, I don't remember the exact price, you get a postcard from him, and he writes it. So it's like what, a 50-cent postcard, maybe 10 cents or 20 cents, whatever, for the thing. So under $1. He's spending under $1. He's probably putting in 5 minutes, and he gets $5. So it's a good deal all around, because it's also that people get to connect with him and have him write a personal message to them. So that's an example of a physical good that I love, that I think is like, oh yeah, that's really smart. But again, sometimes he'll just do, I don't know if he does this, but a lot of them will just do, okay, if you're part of the group, we'll do a live stream once a week and we just hang out and talk. You might pay $20 a month, and then you get that. You might get extra photos behind the scenes, things like that. But that also includes Kickstarter. And Kickstarter right now it tends to be more of like pre-selling. So a lot of times, like what people are buying is the project ahead of time. But again, usually the ones that are successful, really the money they make are about having these like personal touches. So I'm trying to think of a good example. So I did I did crowdfunding for a comic book probably might even be a decade ago now, probably a little bit over a decade. And so I was making a comic book, and I crowdfunded it. And some of our biggest backers, like the biggest money that came in, it was where I would do like a consulting call, right? So they meet and I would help them with their business or whatever, doing their own Kickstarter. So things like that, right? And that actually fits in with our next one, which is consulting or education, right? So consulting and education is just where really normally you don't put those two together, but I put them together because consulting is really just education, but on a one-to-one level. So if I get hired to do consulting, it might be most of my consultant work is around YouTube, where clients like, hey, I want to increase my viewers. I've been putting out 100 videos and I only have 100 subscribers. And it's like, okay, well, let's sit down. We'll figure out how do we increase your SEO, which is search engine optimization. How do we make a lot more people see your videos? How do we get YouTube search engine to share those videos? How do you connect with other YouTubers, things like that? And that's similar to education. The difference between it is instead of working with one person, I'm working with a group. So a group of people, and it tends to be less personal. So instead of saying, this is what you need to do for your specific channel, this is what generically you need to do to get more views. Or like this class where I also do it sometimes like this, where I get consulted to say, okay, I'm working on a video project. What do I need to know? Who do I need to hire? Things like that. Those are less common, but are also an option for me consulting. It depends on what you do, like what you make videos about is what you're going to consult or educate on. So an example, So there's a past student who does his videos on fish, and so he could consult fish tanks. Sorry, so he does fish tanks, like all, you know, he's very passionate about that. So he could get hired as a consultant for, like, you know, big corporations that want to put a fish tank in. You know, he can say, okay, you need to check this often. You need to have a pH level of this. You know, he might come in, you know, quarterly, every 3 months, to sort of, you know, say, okay, this is where you need to improve for the fish to live longer, things like that. Or he could, and he doesn't do either of these. He mostly sells products, but he could also do like a class on like how to set up your first fish tank, how to set up a more advanced fish tank, how to set up a saltwater fish tank, things like that. So that's under the consultant educator. That's also a good option early on, because but it takes a little work to kind of find clients. So that's the downside to it, is the work's usually fun. It's just you either have to be actively or a big enough name, or like now people know me enough as the YouTube guy that people find me through other people and recommendations. So and the last one, and probably the most, this is probably my number one for youth, is to get a job. Specifically get a job where you can do YouTube videos. And a lot of time when you work for a company, they might not be like, okay, I'm gonna hire him and he can do YouTube videos. You can work that in. So for example, I started working for UW Extension quite a while ago. And that's what I did right before becoming basically what I'm doing now, with teaching people about YouTube and doing YouTube videos. Because I guess technically a full-time YouTuber. Before that, I worked for UW Extension, Waukesha, and they did not have any reason to do any YouTube videos, but I constantly was like, hey, why don't we do a YouTube video of this? Hey, and it would sometimes be like I would do it for free. I would just be like, hey, and sometimes I could clock it in on the hour. And so it would be anything from we need to instead of doing a class, so they'd be like, okay, we need to do a class on proper safety for this thing. I'd say, can I just do a YouTube video? You know, and I'd say, hey, I could do a YouTube video of this. And then, you know, they liked it. And then next thing I know, I was doing videos to promote different parts. And that became good, because then I could show other people, say, hey, you know, here's a video I did for the University of Wisconsin. Show my quality. And then they would hire me to do videos for them. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like that's your job. But actually a good example is a friend of mine who does videos, who just started doing it for he worked for a manufacturing company. And he said, hey, you know, I do videos. I know you guys are looking for new training for our employees. How about you give me the information, or tell me what information you want them to have, and then I'll just do a video on it. And that became a way for the company to train new employees. The filmmaker had something to show other corporations, to say, hey, this is the kind of work I do. I've worked with this big client. And it all started with not, you know, the job he had nothing. He was just worked on the line of a, not related to video production. So, and now he has that opportunity. So that one's definitely underrated, and probably my first choice, again, for especially the younger youth, is try to find, even if you get paid even a little bit less, but find a job where, you know, if you're working retail or something, you know, try to figure out a way to like let the boss know you do videos and you like to make some videos to help them, or the marketing people, or switch jobs like I did with UW Extension, where I was like, okay, this is gonna be. There's other reasons why I joined, but that was a big part. Was that it gave me an opportunity to do videos that it was very easy to see that I'd be able to work that into the day-to-day position. So hope that I found that helpful. I just want to thank everyone for taking the workshop course. It's 4 weeks, definitely not enough time, but also, you know, it's a month, so it's a big chunk of time as well. I loved watching everyone's video, and if you we will have more workshops coming up pretty soon. We just have to work out the details. So thank you again. If you're not, please subscribe to the channel, and we will see you again very, very soon.